Well, howdy folks. Charlie with Typewriter Justice here, and I had somebody send me a message saying, hey, how do I get the platen out of my Optima Elite 3? Because they're trying to send them off to JJ Short, and so here's an Elite 3 that I had laying around. And just real quick, that's how you pull the platen on one. These are going to be very similar to Olympia's because, I mean, it's an Optima, and they're closely related. Pretty short and sweet. Not much to it, really. You're going to remove the left knob, which is just 2 screws that you can loosen, and then that left knob will come off. In fact, let's go ahead and do it. I'm just gonna just loosen that. See if that's not quite enough. Whoop. All right, there's my left knob. Now we're going to look at the platen collar screws that are just down inside there. Should be 2 of them. And we're going to remove both of those. If I can see them with my headset on here. Where are you at? There you are. All right. These are little bitty guys. Grub screws like this like to split if they're forced too much, so I highly advise giving a squirt of penetrating oil of some sort. I use Croil. Ta-da! Croil, Aero Croil, whatever. Use a penetrating oil on those because you don't want to split those. This is a really, really tight space to try and work one of those out, and patience pays off on that. Anyway, so we got the left knob off, and we got the 2 platen screws out, and you want to look before you pull this platen rod out to see if there is a washer present down in there, and in this machine there is. That is a final fit item. Sometimes they're thicker, sometimes they're thinner. There's almost always a washer there, though. Sometimes more than one. I use a little magnet. You can use a screwdriver, whatever, but I like to run a magnet in there before I pull the platen rod out. So now my washer is present and accounted for. Ta-da. And got my platen rod out. And once your platen rod is out, you can run your carriage all the way over, and your platen, lift the right hand end and then pull it this way. And you'll notice there is a little recessed portion right there. And when you go to put the platen back in, that recessed portion is going to need to sit directly on top of that little post that's sticking out. Otherwise, you will not be able to fit your washer in there. And show you how I do that real quick. And by the way, it's worth mentioning that you should, when you go to put this back in, you should engage the detent. For this particular machine, the detent doesn't do very much, but it just pulls that little roller out of the way as you go to seat this. And I'll get this in there real quick. All right, so we're seated right there. And so now I've got that little space for my washer. All right. So to get my washer in, there's my screwdriver, or not screwdriver, my tweezers. I have the washer on there. I'm going to take my screwdriver. I'm going to put it down into the top. Create just a little extra space for that washer to go in. Feed the washer in from the bottom. Oh, lost it. Come here. This is honestly the hardest part of the whole thing. All right, push that over. Got my washer up there a little bit. Grab my platen rod, run it through, catch that washer. Ta-da! I got my washer caught. And now we're going to kind of feel around here. And this is where it feels a lot like an Olympia. Ta-da! There we go. So we got that end seated through. And now you get to that flange at the end, that's where the washer comes into play again. You kind of wiggle it through. You want to line up on this end. There is, at least on this particular one, there is a very precise spot where those two grub screws go. Put all your screws back in, and then you'll be good to go. I'm just going to do one of them for right now. Get my left knob back on there, and just to be anal, I'm going to line them up to where the screw is even with that screw, because symmetry is king, or something like that. I don't know. So there you go. That's how to remove and replace the platen on the Optima Elite 3. Woohoo! Later.